If you know what to look for, you can easily find it. It's like my brother-in-law is a mechanic. He's riding with my car one day, and I hear a noise in my car. Something's wrong with it, but I'm not sure what it is. He knew exactly what it is because he's a mechanic, right? So I'm a right-wing extremist. No, I'm actually a freedom activist. And I see something wrong, I know exactly what it is. Now how to fix it, right? Because we're freedom activists. So I'm in this beautiful town of Ringe. In fact, it was 2012. I think it was while we had camp here. I stopped by the town hall to leave off some, here it is, a copy of this little reprint to the selectmen. And I found this on the table, right? Defining a town center. Ringe, New Hampshire's charrette. Most people would see this. It isn't because I'm so smart. No, I'm not that smart. But I know what a charrette is. A charrette is a visionary session. It sounds very nice, doesn't it? A charrette. You show up with your French beret and some bread and a bottle of wine and you talk about stuff, right? Sounds very benign, right? What's wrong with that? What happens is that these folks come in from out of town and they have their people in the town that want to implement this, and they give the impression that everybody in town wants this. They buy it, it's called buy-in, right? And they leave, and then the federal money comes in, and then you lose your control of your town. So I wrote a letter to the local newspaper, right? This is how you can impact lots of people by doing something like this. Nobody reads news, we're talking about hard copy, but almost every newspaper has an online version too, right? The newspaper did not print my letter. So what did I do? I copied and pasted it on the Town of Ringe Facebook page. And I just explained what this charrette was about, and people should learn more about this. I didn't say, I didn't criticize, I didn't call anybody names, because you never want to do that, right? You just put out facts and figures. And I tell you, I got more. I was insulted, vilified, my ancestry was questioned, my moral integrity wasn't questioned, but some people read that and they didn't like these people in town who were saying these nasty, they knew these people weren't very good. And I think it was, I don't know how many months after that, this fellow by the name of Larry Cleveland got a hold of me. Actually, a guy named Frank. Frank said, hey, this Larry Cleveland is, he wants to know what happened to the postings you made, back, a year ago or 8 months ago. So I got a hold of Larry, and at this point, I want to turn it over to Larry but Larry proved what a few people can do when they organize, how they can fight City Hall, or in this case, Town Hall, right? And what he did, he and his Save Our Town group did, should be a motivational factor to every person in this country, in fact, every person in the world. So, Larry, why don't you come on up?
I got to really thank Hal for inviting me to come and speak. It's really an honor. I've never been here before. I've lived in Ringe my entire life. This is really cool what he is doing here. You guys should really consider yourself very lucky. I wish I had something like this when I was a kid growing up. This is very, very cool. I was impressed to see when he said, who knows what Agenda 21 is? I saw almost everybody's hand go up. That impressed me, especially being as young as you people are. That gives me hope, a lot of hope. He's absolutely right. Back in January of 2013, I received a flyer, and it was sent to me, and it said that they wanted to have a meeting at the West Ringe Methodist Church. It's where I went to Sunday school at, and went to church most of my life. And I thought I spoke loud enough, maybe not. Okay, sorry. I received a flyer, and it said that they wanted to, they were having the West Ringe Revitalization Project. And I said, well, what's this? I didn't hear anything about it. I've lived there my entire life. In fact, my family's had 125 years heritage in this little village alone. And I said, well, if they're going to change something there, I want to know what's going on. So I went to this meeting. As it turns out, it was a visioning session, just like Hal was talking about. I went in, I listened to it, and they wanted to, they wanted these quaint little shops with all the stacked living spaces on top. It's called mixed-use zoning. This apartment's on top. It's called Stack 'em and Pack 'em apartments. They're very small little apartments. It's where the government brings people in to live. It's where the government's going to tell you you have to live there. They wanted to do all kinds of things. And I said, well, you know, why do they want to do this? And I was a little concerned about it. They wanted to create a new town center. I said, well, they must be crazy. They wanted to create all kinds of businesses, places to sell alcohol, so all the college kids could come down into town and hang out, and we have enough problems at the college as it is. And I said, why do they want to bring this down to our village and cause problems down there? I didn't understand what was going on. So most of the people at the church were all West Ridge Village residents. And we all were in strong opposition to this. We're going, why do you want to do this to our village? We don't want it to change. Who's bringing this here? We never called for this. We don't want this here. And it kind of fell on deaf ears. And I left there shaking my head that night going, I just don't get it. So in June of that same year, they had another vision session, another meeting they announced that I went to. And we again all stood up as residents of West Ridge Village and said, didn't you hear us the first time? No, we don't want this. And again, it fell on deaf ears. Nobody was listening that was putting this meeting on. It's like, yeah, we don't want to hear you. Even though we were the ones that were called to the meeting, they didn't want to hear it. Well, that's what a visioning session really is. It's a predetermined outcome. They already know what the outcome of that meeting is before you even go. That was kind of disturbing to me. But I still didn't realize any of this at this point. So I started writing letters to the paper. I started getting vocal about it. I started using social media, Facebook and so forth, asking questions, asking for help. Anyone know what's going on? And that's when Hal got a hold of me and told me, did you ever hear of Agenda 21? No, what's Agenda 21? And he says, well, and he explained it to me. And for you that you can get on YouTube and you're taking notes, I see a lot of people taking notes. The first video that Hal told me to watch was Agenda 21 for public officials. If you could put that in your notes and search that out on YouTube, it's about a 14-minute long video and explains Agenda 21 in a nutshell. And that's what started me. It has transformed my life. I live my life totally different now, just from what I learned in that video. I started researching and researching and researching, and you realize now Agenda 21 affects every part of your life. Everything, from education to everything. It's quite scary. So I said, well, how can we do this? How can we stop this in Ringe? We don't want this in Ringe. This isn't good. So some other people reached out to me in Ringe and said, we get together and have a meeting of our own and see how we can stop this. And we decided to hold a meeting on October 1st. We formed a little committee. We called it Save Our Town. We now call it just SOT. And we had a meeting on October 1st in town. And we sent out flyers to every household in the town of Ridge. Every house got a flyer advertising this meeting. We figured if we got 30 or 40 people to this meeting, we'd be doing pretty good. We packed the place. There was 200 people there. It was standing room only. Pretty cool. I would have to say that 98% of the people there had no idea this plan was going on. They have kept it a secret that well in this town. Nobody knew about this. They didn't want anybody to know about it because they know it would be met with huge opposition. Nobody in town wanted this stuff going on. This is a small, quaint little rural town, and that's the way we want to keep it. So as time went on, we started sending out more informational flyers as our research grew and grew and grew. We actually had, at that first meeting, we had 2 state representatives come to talk. And they talked about it because it happened in their town. And that really helped us too, because when you have state representatives talk, people really listen. So we started sending out flyers, again, more informational flyers, letting people know what was going on in town. We ended up going around with our people and getting petitions, and we buy a petition warrant article. And it's when people sign, you get so many signatures, and it's an idea, and you can get it put on the ballot, and the people can vote on it. The first one that we did was to remove our membership from the Southwest Regional Planning Commission. Regional planning commissions are preaching for regional governance, and when that happens, you lose all your ability to choose and vote on it in your town. You'll have unelected officials telling you what you must have in your town. You lose your voice. So we voted to remove our membership from that. We won that vote by 60% of the vote. The second one we had was we required voter approval for all HUD grants. This charrette that they had, that Hal keeps mentioning here, this is the exact plan. This is the plan from Ringe. Was funded by HUD. A lot of stuff you'll find is funded by HUD, the EPA, and DOT. We voted to require voter approval now for any HUD grants in the town of Ringe. That won by 60% of the vote. We are, to my knowledge, the only town in the state of New Hampshire now that requires voter approval to accept any HUD grants.
Good.
We hope to serve as kind of a learning place for other people, because this is happening in almost every town in the state of New Hampshire. And the third one was to remove the charrette, the Plan New Hampshire charrette, from the master plan. That passed by 75% of the vote. We got people on board. People saw the facts. They tried to lie about it, said that we were just passing around propaganda. When you present people with facts, verifiable facts, people cannot dispute that. Not only did we do that, but we got one of our members elected to a select board each year in the town of Ridge. We have 3 selectmen in town. Each year there's a new one elected. We got one of our people into that position. We also got 2 good conservatives into the planning board. There was 2 open seats on the planning board. We got 2 of our people on the planning board also. That was huge. That's a way to change your town, is to get the right people in positions. So the moral of the story is that you can fight City Hall and you can win. Yeah, it takes a lot of work and persistence, but you can do it. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't. And what's cool about this is that if I can get involved at my age and change things, imagine what you guys can do being as young as you are if you start getting involved now. The change that you can bring. It's amazing. So to this very day, SOT is still intact. Save Our Town is still intact. We have many members, but we have 12 of us that meet once a month. We have at least 2 members that go to every planning board and every board of selectmen meeting in town. We don't miss one. We take notes or report back once a month at a meeting. We're not going to get caught off guard again. We're here to stay, and I think that's really perturbed a lot of the people that don't like us. But that's too bad, because we're not going away. I would just like to take this moment. I know none of the members are here tonight, but I would just like to thank all of my Save Our Town members, because I might be the mouthpiece for this group, but it couldn't have been accomplished with any of these great people that joined forces with me. And I'm very proud of each and every one of them, and I'm very proud of you children too. So thank you for having me tonight.
A friend of mine just came in. I think it was tentative whether she was going to show up or not, but she's another person that learned about Agenda 21. What's that? And just a few years ago, and she took it upon herself to start an organization in Massachusetts called Save Our Towns. And she's going to give you 5 minutes of inspiration. Linda Dagley Duval. I usually call her Duval Dagley.
I have a red, white, and blue jacket. He can attest to that. If I were any more patriotic, they'd be pulling me up on the flagpole. That's the way to be. Basically, all I want to do is tell you what Larry has done is just incredible, incredible. And you don't need a copy of the Constitution when you got Hal around. You ask him, he can tell you what page it's on. As far as my work, I am the founder and the teaching coordinator of, you ready for this? Save Our Towns, which I had to change the name of when I started working with, teaming up with a gentleman that was a member of one of my groups in Massachusetts and wanted to start a group up here. We had to change it to Save Your Land up here, so that we wouldn't get confused and steal a lot of the thunder. I'm short, I'm sorry. Steal a lot of the thunder from Larry. He's done it all. In Massachusetts, what I've done with our SOT is that I go around speaking. I pull people together from those talks, and between the 4 groups I have now developed in Massachusetts and the 1 group that we have developed in New Hampshire, basically what I've done is clone myself, and we are represented in 35 towns. I like to use a saying that I'm going to steal from a friend. Don't fight City Hall, become City Hall. And that's exactly what we're doing. A lot of the members now are either running for select boards or for city councils, or they're becoming members of their planning boards in their towns, so that they're right there knowing exactly what's going on and being able to report back to the rest of us. And you get one member who's having a problem in their town, and all of my members are ready to show up there and be able to support that person in their town. We are definitely a team. Any of you who are not parents, any of you who are parents here, it's very important that you attend your local town meetings so that you know what's going on. Don't get surprised. Find out what's going on. You have people around you who can tell you that there is a problem. Watch out for it. You can go online and be able to check out some of the catchwords that are used. And of course, whatever you learn today, they're going to change tomorrow. Global warming is now climate change, and whatever they find out you're doing, they're going to change that name, so you got to stay on top of them. And the first thing to do is know exactly what the laws are, the contracts are that are going into those regional, I call them governance, those regional commissions, the contracts that are coming out to them and going into the towns. If you use their words, nobody can dispute you. That's the way that we've been able to handle things. I'm very proud of what I do. I am very proud of Larry. I love what Hal does. And my partner sitting back here, raise your hand. Art Bingham from New Hampshire, New Hampshire. I thank you for your time, and good luck. Enjoy life.
What you do when you organize, right?
Yeah.
Organize. If the enemy does it, we do it.
Right.
Right? So with that, I want to thank you all for your attention, and next thing on the agenda is what? What time's it start?
9.
What time are you going to be there?
8:55.
All right. Okay, see you then.